Üdvözlünk mindenkit! Itt a Cult Trexy két tagjával találkozhatunk, és nemrégiben voltak itt Magyarországon, 3 koncertet is adtak. Köszönjetek, srácok! Say hi to your viewers. Here is Benji on the left side, and Dan is in the right side. And I'm Zoltán from Tempest Hill, and there will be some kind of questions from fans and maybe some people who interest in our and Benji's music. So I'm gonna read it and ask Dan and Benji. All right. First, this first question was that having you finished your first Hungary tour, what were your highlights for the group? So, for example, which night was the best for you guys? And talk about feelings. So, I'm listening.
Do you want to go first, Dan?
Yeah, sure. So definitely the third date of the tour was my favorite. I think the energy was just unparalleled compared to the other 2 shows. It was a great turnout. Everyone really enjoyed themselves by the looks of it. We went crazy on stage. But then again, the other 2 nights were absolutely brilliant as well. Obviously, the first night at SA Underground, bit quiet towards the end after after Tempest still played. But, you know, it happens. But yeah, on a whole, definitely the last date was my most memorable one.
Mm. I definitely agree that the third night was pretty sick for us. Thoroughly enjoyed every single night, to be fair. It was an experience from A to B, from traveling there to getting back. But the third night was definitely a night we will not forget for the years to come. Enjoyed just going around the town with the boys as well, showing them beautiful Budapest, taking the scenes, the food, the beer, just enjoying the whole trip. It was beautiful.
I recognize that you ended all of the shows a little bit earlier than you needed to. What was the consequence of this or something? So.
Well, we did have more material prepared. However, we're always in the now, and unfortunately, due to timing and the new songs being written, as well as personal stuff like university, work, family, we haven't really had time to finalize them songs on how that we should represent them in person. So because of that and not having our drummer there, it kind of just made it difficult to perform them songs in their full.
And you didn't feel the songs.
Yeah, it's definitely, I would say so at least. It's not been able to teach Dan every single in and out of the song and him being able to bring his own flavor to it. It's like it just takes away from our enjoyment and experience so much. There's just it's not worth playing until we know it's ready to be played.
All right. And have you ever noticed any differences between Hungary and English style, music style? Because in England, I don't know about England because I grew up in Hungary, and maybe in Germany there was some kind of metal and rock shows, but not much experience for me. What are your sights?
What do you think, Dan? Do we notice a difference between them?
I definitely think our kind of style is a lot more, whilst we consider it pretty out there and obscure, it almost seems commercialized in comparison to the music that we heard from you guys in Hungary. Because all of your styles are very different, especially like Tempest still as a whole, like really almost impactful, meaningful, like the vocal element, like the singing as well as the screaming elements. Whereas ours, it's very much just in your face, like we are screaming at you. This is loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my main take. Definitely is like the melodic aspect in comparison to the more gritty, shouty elements.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel like people were just very nice and accepting as well, which we kind of see in England as well. From after like coming off a stage after a show, we do kind of get people coming us and congratulating us and drinking with us. And of course, in Hungary, it's just done, but with stronger beer and a few more people.
Definitely.
But it was a lovely group to be around. Just before we got on stage, after we got off stage, it's just good atmosphere of people, and that's always what we look for.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Another question about your band. How did this Cult Trexy form and evolve since the start? I mentioned it. Where did the idea come from to start a band or something else? Did you start alone, or were you friends and just told your mates that, oh, we need to start a band because it's sick or something?
I'll leave this one to you, mate,
like...
because you're the man.
So it kind of went like that to some degree, but so we're all attending the same university. We're part of the same year, and we study a very similar course. Me and Arthur studying the same course, Dan studying sound and music design, which is just a slight branch off of ours. Me and Arthur first in class met, and you know, he was a fan of hip hop and I was a fan of rock. So we kind of both, so I was really big into hip hop, he was really big into his rock, and I used to be big into my rock music, and we both found bands that we both liked, and one of the tasks at class was to make some music, and of course me and Arthur went together. We started the band and we started playing as a two, and Dan came to a few of our shows. We knew he was a drum and bass producer for his solo stuff under Avro, but eventually he made a very, very monumental remix of one of our songs, and it was kind of his in my head, I was like, if he makes this song good as a remix, I will consider taking him up for the band. And
that was like my inauguration.
But
yeah,
he's not just the producer, he's the bass player as well. So
of course,
because you are the singer, and Arthur, who's not here, he takes the rhythm and maybe solo guitar
and solos as well.
Yeah.
In the new stuff, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dan is kind of the glue that holds us together, I would say. He was the missing piece of the puzzle, the perfect balance of chaos and just normalness that we needed. So he does our production, he helps us record, he does the bass, the synth work, and honestly, it was just a pleasure bringing him into the band. And then finally we have James, who wasn't on this tour unfortunately with us, but we'll have him for the next one, and he is just a total unit on the drums. He plays like a robot, he doesn't miss a beat.
And
that's pretty much the dynamic.
So you mentioned it, the future. So where do you see the band heading in the future? Not just in maybe in UK, maybe in Norway or Iceland or something else, because in northern countries our new rock, metal is very popular. So did you consider that you should go to north?
I've been,
Not until now.
Not until now, I would say.
Yeah, no, not until now, because with regards to like branching out in the future, we have interest already in more European-based venues. Obviously, a few in Hungary following the tour. And am I right? We on a long drive from the UK to Hungary, we stopped in Belgium, and Ben and Arthur went out on a mission to get some food whilst I was asleep, and they ended up talking to like some locals in the town, and then yeah, they got kind of into our music, and they were just like, yeah, we want you to play here, and they've given us some venues, and we'll be in touch with those venues. So we're looking at branching out further into Europe, even closer to home in Europe, just anywhere that wants us, we'll go.
Definitely.
Good to hear.
Definitely. We're looking to get anywhere that will take a nice friendly old cult, really. Man, yeah, we'll just come for a good time. That's always the plan.
All right. And then what countries did you put on the lists where you definitely will go?
I would definitely like to play in somewhere in Germany. Germany I found is a very beautiful country. I thought potentially somewhere up north, and of course definitely back to Hungary as well. They're like some of the 3 countries that I can think of off the top that I immediately would love to play at. Dan? Any additions?
I always think that rock metal bands always seem to pop off in the United States. So taking it over the pond would be really cool. I think I just hit my synthesizer. Definitely, yeah, over the pond. Yeah, just anywhere in Europe. I too, yeah, I really liked Germany. It's a very beautiful country, and obviously they're big on their all sorts of music, especially the music I actually make as a solo artist. And as we tend to kind of fuse the 2 styles together, I feel like we'd be a perfect match for some venues there.
Definitely.
It's a nice idea. United States is a bigger meal for you guys, I think, because it's much more far than maybe Hungary, but Rexoriches.
Yeah. True.
The next question is about the mechanics. How does the band work? So who writes a song? That you said Dan is the producer, so he makes basics of the music, but maybe lyrics is for the job for Ben, and Arthur is writing the guitar lines, or what are the roles in your band?
We've kind of got a very, I'd say, factory line way of making music currently, which I'm trying to hopefully slowly get out of the phase of. We kind of do it in blocks, so Arthur and Dan will sit down as the main 2 composers usually, and or Arthur will have an initial concept or idea, which then gets brought to Dan. Dan and Arthur build on this concept. Now, with the introduction of James as our drummer, because he's only been part of the band in a few months, we want to kind of shift that instead of having it pre-written with an idea where it's all just come up in a more live atmosphere where it's almost like on the spot and feeling. But usually, like I say, Arthur comes up with a concept or idea, meets up with Dan. Dan then takes the idea and builds up on it, because of course 2 heads is better than 1. And I like to write to an almost complete instrumental, just as preference, to know where every little magic bit is, and then it gets to me. Bless you.
Gesundheit.
Comes to me. We've got lyrics. I write some lyrics and finalize that, and then with the help of Dan again, we put it into the studio and get it all recorded to be mixed and mastered and finalized before an upload.
That's you call it organizing at higher level. So
Yeah.
in our band it's a little bit more simpler, because our frontman band writes the song, writes it physically down, and we play it. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit simpler, like we do. And did you have any emotions before you started this band, or influences, inspirations from other bands? What did your maybe, for example, did you hear something, a song, or maybe you have a popular band who do you like? Did this affect your band, or do you make your own music?
I would say we draw inspiration from a lot of sources. Us all of the band members being very heavily from a rock background. Like our parents like music, even just little bits and bobs, whether it's from the classics of Rolling Stone or something a bit more modern. Um, I think me and Arthur really fused over Bring Me the Horizon, and then Dan as well. We also like Linkin Park's Rage Against the Machine, so a bit of more traditional, heavier rock bands where like we all kind of have that sense of nostalgia. Obviously, Linkin Park's have classic screamy vocals that don't need like you feel like you could always sing, and just beautiful, beautiful composition. Um, Bring Me the Horizon brings the digital stuff, which Dan is just a master of, and we try and fuse everything together, really. Just taking our inspiration, I guess. Like, you like Nova Twins, don't you, Dan?
Yeah, I love
like
them. They're incredible.
he's gotten us into it. Well, you've gotten me personally into the Nova Twins, and like
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's just beautiful taste in rock music. That's not like something you would hear everywhere. The bands that you go to them because it is them, and I feel like
Mm,
that's kind of where we want to head in that sense.
mm.
I don't know what other bands can you think of? Like Bring Me the
Re
Horizon.
Maybe,
Rage Against the Machine.
yeah,
I
I
love
just
them.
wanted to mention Rage Against the Machine, because this kind of rap and rock mix music is it's not the same, but there are some kind of,
I definitely think it's a style of rock that hasn't been explored enough for what you can do with it. And I feel like the mixture of drum and bass and like electronic music that Dan has experience in also kind of spawns from hip hop. And over the recent years, a lot of hip hop and rock fusion can be seen in popular music. So I definitely feel like it's back on the rise.
yeah. Uh, I got one more question for you guys. I did get from my friend, uh, because Ben, you said on the stage that you are like a cult. Call it in UK accent, uh, and if you go to your shows, or someone goes to your show, uh, there are no pain, only happiness. But your taste of music, what you play, is a little bit in the opposite side of what do you sing, what do you think, and how
Yeah.
these two opposite sides matches. So I couldn't answer my friend, because I don't know the answer. So
Well, that's a very good question. I think the reason we all like the term cult is for its main reason of everyone feels like they're part of a cult, you know. No one is a fan of a cult, everyone's just a cult member. When you come to a show, you know, you can't say I'm here to listen to this band because I'm a fan. You can say though I am a cult member and I'm here for the cult. Like we call it like what's I don't know how to call it. So it's like just a cult
Almost
meeting
equal.
when we have a show. I feel like, yeah, where all the members just come. They're not really judged. It doesn't matter as long as you
Like a
have.
ritual.
Yeah, it really is a ritual when we meet up. And like, you know, when you come here, you can just sing along to the songs, scream as loud as you can, and just have a good time. Yes, there will be maybe a bit of blood. Someone might punch you in the face in a mosh pit, but at the end of the day, it's a bit of stress relief, I think. I definitely find it's almost like talking to a therapist with our music. It's not going to be all nice stuff, but at the end of the day, you got to get all of that out, the angriness, and then you'll have a good time. It's like when you go for a massage, at first you're tense, but after they get all the knots out your back, once you scream and do this and that, you're all nice and loose. You're ready for the next day of work. It's just good atmosphere. Like you come here, you loosen up, sweat it out, get in a mosh pit, and you leave as a good cult member.
All right, yeah, that could work for my friend. Thank you for having us in Hungary, and it was my pleasure to meet you guys. And
Our pleasure
Thank
too.
you.
see you forward in the future, and
Definitely.
soon again Hungary, or maybe we can go to England, but
We'll plan something in the schedule soon enough. We
Yeah,
appreciate everything.
of
Get it in the
course.
pipeline.
Of course.
Yes.
All right. Thank you
Definitely.
for this little talk, and I will put your music right here, and
Wait,
see you later, guys. Bye.
amazing.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
In a bit. Bye.